Welcome back to Cobra Vids, guys. This is going to be a gardening video. When I moved to Arizona, I was really worried about how gardening in Arizona was going to be compared to gardening in Northern California. And I mean true Northern California, almost to Oregon. We suffered with a lot of different types of elements up there. Early season and late season, we would have frost, so we would have to know when to plant. We would have tremendous amounts of caterpillars, tomato bugs, and all kinds of different pests and elements or we have to deal with here in Arizona. So here's my take on Arizona gardening. Please don't be too critical because I am new to Arizona and very new to Arizona gardening, but my first year failed, and I'll tell you why. I had my plants going and they were going great, and then all of a sudden they all died off and I couldn't figure out what was going on. I checked my timer was set and everything, and then one morning I came out here early right around the time those sprinklers were supposed to be going, and they did not run. So I realized that my sprinkler timer had failed, and it was an orbit timer. So I had my Rainbird timer left over from California, so I went ahead and installed that in, and I've had great success so far. I have my zucchini plants here, and they're doing really nice. I just harvested my first few tomatoes. I'll add a picture of those in here, right here. So, okay. I do have a little tomato plant growing over there. It was extra, so I kind of crowded it in there. I got to stake it up so that it doesn't fall over when it starts producing my little cherry tomatoes. I decided just to keep it small back there in the corner. There are two different types of zucchinis here. You can tell because this has more of a watermelon type of leaf. That's a leaf shape that resembles watermelon leaves, and then I've got the nice flat leaves. These are like the cooking zucchinis, and I just harvested a couple small ones that we're going to eat plain. And there's nothing like a fresh zucchini with ranch dressing. Over here, I've got some tomato plants, and as you can see, they are starting to grow some tomatoes here, and these are going to be medium-sized tomatoes. I got this one here and this one over here, and what I do is when they start growing tall, I start cutting off the growing tips. I haven't cut this one off, so I'll demonstrate. When I got plenty of side growths and it gets tall enough, I'll just take the growing tip and just pinch it off, and or cut it off however you choose. And yeah, I know I'm cutting off a potential tomato or 12, but you want to keep your tomato plants stocky and have them bushel out. I know there's some that says, oh, I grow mine really tall, and but everybody has a different growing style, and I always like my tomato plant stocky so that it concentrates on thickening branches, so that when you start having tomatoes, they don't crack branches or cause any other stresses to the plant. And this tomato plant will not get any taller. It might grow a little bit, and then I'll chop it down. And then every growth that comes out will grow up, and then you just pinch that off there to maintain it. And this one here is the same way. As you can see, I keep my tomato plants right about the same height. And this plant here, I believe I saw a tomato on it earlier. You've got, this one is a little smaller tomatoes. There's going to be like little cherry tomatoes. That is the tag for them. I keep this so that I can remember what they look like, what they're supposed to look like. And around the corner here, I've started some bell peppers. I did not try bell peppers last year because I wanted to start off with just a couple simple little plants. And there's nothing forming on this side. Now I did suffer these plants in the beginning because when I was testing my sprinklers in my front yard, I actually turned my timer off. So for like 2 days, they had no water and they were stunted a little bit, but now they're starting to come back out of it. This one here, I am starting to get a bell pepper right there in the middle there. And I believe I saw another one on this side over here that's starting to grow. So the bell peppers are starting to grow as well. And in the middle there, I have some aloe vera. I planted them there because I had some extra and I wanted to get them growing, and then I can dig those up and transplant them somewhere else, give them away, and then I can put another tomato plant right in the middle there. This house had tremendous amounts of aloe vera growing, and I have this bushel here growing, and I wouldn't mind if it just spread all out around here because it's a pretty plant and it does produce flowers. It has already flowered, so I don't have any flowers on here now, but they do produce flowers here and there, and it's a pretty desert plant. All right, guys, so organic growing. Here's where a lot of people misunderstand some things. Organic growing means using organic materials to raise your garden. Mulches. As you can tell, and I did a video on mulch piles before, here's my mulch pile, and I mix it with some rocks, I mix it with old soil, plant cuttings, like when I trim my tomato plants I use that. But as you can see, as it's breaking down, it creates a beautiful mulch. There's some organic material left in there, and that is exactly what you want to see when you spread those into your beds. And I only use this mulch one time a year, and that's when I turn over my beds and get them ready to plant. I will spread some of this in there and refresh the soil that's in there, but I still fertilize. And that brings me to my next point about fertilizers. A lot of people think Miracle-Gro is a chemical fertilizer. Well, Miracle-Gro is a lot like vitamins. If you take a vitamin supplement, you are taking a natural organic vitamin that has been extracted from organic materials. Okay, so Miracle-Gro is the same exact thing. It is nutrients that plants like that are extracted from organic substances. So when you think of chemical fertilizers, any fertilizer you use is not necessarily a chemical fertilizer. And Miracle-Gro I've used for a long time as a supplement to the soil. So I'll provide a couple pictures of the fertilizer I use, and I will give you a description of how I use them. I know many of you will probably disagree with my assessment of Miracle-Gro, but you know, that's okay, because that's why there's so many ways of doing anything, is personal preference. So you use what you use, or you can try my way and see that it works just the same. And it's easy. It is so easy to use Miracle-Gro, and it is safe. It is as safe as using a mulch. In fact, using Miracle-Gro is safer than using mulch, manure type of fertilizers. And this is why. Because when you introduce manure and other broken down substances throughout your growing cycle, you increase molds, you increase pests, and you just draw those pests into your plants. And that is why I only use my mulch one time, and that is to start off, recharge my soil. But okay, all right, as far as irrigation goes, I think gardening is always done best with timed irrigation, because you know, tomato plants love to have the soil saturated twice a day, and I do mine right as the sun's coming up and right before the sun goes down. Those are the coolest parts of the day. I never like to water my plants at nighttime because that's when plants go to sleep, and you know, it might sound silly saying it, but I think that the plant should be watered during the day when it's awake, because we don't eat while we sleep, right? Okay. Well, I have these distributors, and this is an adjustable one to where I can adjust the overall pressure, and then I also have these little sprayers down here that I can adjust the flow to each individual plant, because bell peppers take a different amount of water, a different watering frequency than tomatoes and zucchinis. So in every bed I build, I use one of these here, and I can finally adjust every plant to what that plant needs. And every plant is different, let me tell you, okay? All right, so that about covers everything for this video. If you have any questions or anything you would like for me to go over, please leave it in the comments below, and we'll get to that on our next gardening video. Thank you for joining Cobra Vids for this gardening video, and we'll see you next time. Be safe, guys.